Are you planning to hit the road this Labor Day weekend? Well, don't risk a breakdown, and that's why I'm with Keith Marshall, Master Certified Tech, and he'll be sharing his inspection tips to help keep your trip smooth and stress-free.
Let's start with the tires.
Okay.
That's one of the top things that we're going to check because you don't want to have a blowout on your way to the campground and be stranded on the side of the road instead of putting your kayak in the lake somewhere. So.
All right, let's go on down there. And good news is I just had my bearings repacked, but we can check to see if my tire pressure, we have this pressure gauge / pump hooked up. And if you want to just push that little middle button.
This is an awesome little tool, Bernie.
Yeah.
We press this button here, and I know that this has to go up to 80 PSI, and it's just a little low right now. Yep. So I'm going to squeeze the trigger here.
There we go.
And right to 80, and we're done. Now this is a handy little clip here. It just
pop it off,
pops right off, and now you're all set. And we'll put the cap back on the stem.
Yep.
And you're good to go. Now I also want to check for any cracks or weathering on the sidewall of this tire. And there's a reminder here on new coaches to check your wheel lugs. And these are the lug nuts that we're talking about. They need to be tight. There is a torque specification, but it's extremely important to make sure that they are tight and because they do tend to back off.
All right.
A little bit while you're traveling.
So we got good tire pressure. We know I had the brakes in, the bearings repacked. Everything was checked out and looking fine. And the reason I knew it was 80 pound pressure that we needed to get is because I checked the sticker on the other side, and we'll do that in just a little bit. All right, so I got my chocks out. I got my jacks up, right? And I got my mirrors on.
Your mirrors? Absolutely. When you're backing into a tight campground, you need those mirrors. And you also need somebody to help guide you back there. Make sure that whoever's helping you park can see you, or either in the mirror or directly. It doesn't do any good to stand behind the trailer where the driver can't see it. That is a water regulator. Now, here in New England, you don't really know what the water pressure is going to be at the campground, and we want to keep it at about 50 PSI, and these regulators are preset at 50 PSI, so it doesn't allow the pressure to get any higher than that. And that's a good idea even if the campground has relatively low pressure, it's a good idea to go ahead and put that on either at the campground faucet or, like Bernie has it here, right on your hose.
Right. I always put it on the faucet connection so it doesn't add extra weight to the side of my camper and that little plastic thing that attaches the water, right?
That's a good idea too. I want to check the seals around the windows, all the moldings for any gaps in the sealant, and also on the roof. We've talked about that several times in other videos, but we want to make sure that if there is an issue on the roof, that we address it before we go out to the campground somewhere, because if it rains, the problem, if it's there, is going to get worse.
The other thing that I noticed too, you know, I have a nice house over here in Nashua, New Hampshire. As you look up, there's a bunch of trees, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
The other day, I was just getting on the roof just to make sure, and I said, wow, there's a couple of big sticks up there, and they can become projectiles on the highway, so it's really important that we get those off. Lubricate the jacks is another good one.
Yeah, the jacks, make sure everything that moves is going to move easily. You don't want to have to address problems after you're already there with your family, including your stairs or your steps.
Yep.
Go into the camper here. This set of stairs is really nice. I want to make sure that it does open up all the way, and depending on where your campground is, you may have to adjust the legs so that it's even and stable. Make sure that moves easily. Same way with your grab handle. If this doesn't open and close easily, you're going to have to deal with that when you get to the campsite.
Right, and when you get to the campsite, it's really essential that when you put these steps out and adjust those legs, that you want as little space here as possible so you're not damaging the frame of the door when you're closing the door on the stairs, right?
Good point, Bernie.
Yeah, hey, I want to get to the hitch because this area here is probably one of the most important areas.
Yeah, you have to understand your hitch equipment, and if you have any questions at all about the hitch equipment and the safety features of your hitch equipment, be sure to contact somebody at our service department at Campers Inn RV, because we'll walk you through it. It's extremely important. This is the main area that connects your RV to your tow vehicle, and it needs to be in good working condition, and you need to be able to set it up properly and safely every time.
All right, and some of the things we want to remember are the chains, but there's this other cord over here. This one is red, and I was told to hook it up, but I'm not even sure what that is. What does that red cord do?
That's a good question, Bernie. That is the breakaway switch. That has to be connected to the tow vehicle. And the reason that it's there, for one thing, is that breakaway switch is connected to the battery on the RV, not the battery on the tow vehicle. The reason for that is in a catastrophic event, if the trailer ever does come separated from the tow vehicle, that little wire there will pull a pin out of what we call a breakaway switch. And that breakaway switch will close some contacts and engage the trailer brakes with the trailer battery. That way, the trailer will theoretically slow down and stop without causing even more damage. So that it's a safety feature. It has to be there, and for that reason you have to make sure that you got a good charge line from your tow vehicle too, that this battery is charged up all the time.
Right. So, and, you know, if you have a feeling like your battery isn't charged well before you're getting ready to leave, the day before you can hook it to shore power, right, at the house?
Absolutely. Your onboard converter will charge the battery, and also if you have a good charge line on your tow vehicle will charge the battery while you're driving to the campground.
Fantastic. So it doesn't have to be all the way charged, but it's a good idea to check, make sure your lights are working or whatever. And when you're not using your battery, shut the battery off so you have plenty of battery in storage.
That's power. You might as well save it.
And another thing we're going to do is check all the lights, right? So what would be a good technique to do that?
If you're already hooked up to the tow vehicle, you can use the tow vehicle to do this, and that's probably the safest way to do that. You can do it without the tow vehicle, just by jumping power from your battery to the 7-way plug, but it is safer and easier to connect your tow vehicle to the 7-way plug. When the 7-way plug is plugged in, your turn signals on the coach should work, your brake lights will work, your running lights, and of course your charge line to your battery, which is, as I explained earlier, very important.
Typically, we'd have one person in the driver's seat and then one person off to the back, like you said, like within a eye shot of the mirrors, right?
And that's important so that the driver can see you when you're backing up into a tight spot like this one right here. You don't want to get too close to this wall, for instance, or run into the garage door.
But with that being said, if you're checking your lights back here, you would give signals, and right now we have it set up so you can see both blinkers are working.
This is a great tip, Bernie.
Yeah.
We start the tow vehicle so that we know that we have a charge line going to the battery, but also he turned on the emergency flashers on the tow vehicle. What that does is engages the turn signals at the same time, and they flash on and off, which is a great way to check that both turn signals are working. You only have to make one trip to the back of the coach that way. But both turn signals are working, and also with the headlights on, you should see the running lights on the coach come on as well.
Another nice tip, just it's not really a safety tip per se, is having one of these Furrion rear view cameras. That's pretty handy as well.
Oh man, that's handy,
Yeah.
especially when you get a little bit older like me.
Yeah.
You like to have a little bit of assistance, see where you're going that way.
All right, let's go up the driver's side of the camper and we can take a look at that sticker I was telling you about that talks about the tire pressure, and of course we're going to inspect this tire as well.
Exactly. And this is the torque wheel lugs warning here. It's just a reminder to be sure to check those wheel lugs every time that you go on a trip. That's very important. Also, what Bernie was talking about was the tire pressure tag. Now this is the data tag, we call it. Has a VIN number and other pertinent information, including GVWR, but it also has tire pressures. This only has one axle on this coach, so we have the size of the tires here, and we also have the tire pressure here. And you can see that these are to be set at 80 psi, which is less than the pressure on the sidewall of the tire. Be sure to use this pressure, not the one on the sidewall.
Makes sense. You want to stay within that safety range. You don't want to exceed that, of course.
Exactly.
All right, Keith, what are some of the important factors we need to consider inside?
Good question. The safety things, safety items such as the batteries and your smoke detector and CO detectors.
Right.
If they're separate devices, there should be one of each or combined. Also, your propane leak detector, which on your coach here is back here on the end of this cabinet here. And the reason it's close to the floor is because propane vapor is heavier than air, which makes sense. So you always want to make sure that that's connected. Now your propane detector is connected to your coach battery. So as long as your coach battery is good, that propane detector should be working. You can test that easily with a butane lighter. Just hold the lever down on the butane lighter and it should make the propane detector come on.
Now, if you hear that detector just like beep once every 30 seconds or a minute or so, that's not propane, right?
No, that's a low voltage warning signal.
Okay.
And basically what it's telling you is your battery is getting too low for the propane detector to operate properly. But it also is a good warning to let you know that your battery is getting low, so you need to charge your battery.
One thing that I noticed, because I test drive a lot of motorhomes, so I know what it sounds like inside. These doors on these showers, they're wonderful, right? But you don't want to leave them fully closed because they're going to snap back, or if you have a glass shower, it could even be worse, right?
Yeah, that's right, and that's a good tip as well. A lot of these little things and ideas and stuff, I wouldn't even think of unless someone like Bernie reminds me of this. But this is a good tip. Leave that shower door open. On a glass enclosure, there should be some kind of a travel latch that holds that door in place while you're driving down the road.
Fantastic. Hey, Keith, I can't thank you enough for giving us all these wonderful tips. Again, we're going to include a checklist at the end of this video.
Absolutely.
Thanks a bunch. Are you feeling a little bit overwhelmed? No worries. The Campers Inn RV service team is here to help. Book your RV checkup today at campersinn.com.